What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Australian video, and today we are looking at Australian's 64BN. I don't know what BN stands for, like billion, probably, mega railway. Guys, this is going to be interesting. It has a big budget here, so let's actually see what we got. Before we do get started though, don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and let's get right on with it.
Sydney is getting bigger. A lot bigger. The Australian city is in the middle of building one of the biggest suburban rail projects in the world. This is a $64 billion infrastructure mega project.
Okay, so yeah, BN is $billion. Okay.
Unrivaled in size and scope, extending the city in nearly every direction. By 2030, Sydney will have 113 kilometres of new metro rail and 46 new stations. Driverless trains will run every 4 minutes beneath the harbour and CBD. The country's largest underground railway cavern has been created in the process, as well as its longest transport tunnels. Not since the Harbour Bridge, constructed almost a century ago, has Sydney built such a colossal and, quite frankly, city-defining project.
Damn, it's actually pretty amazing how railways are actually built, especially underground. I don't know, bro. Like, it must take so much bloody time to build that thing. Like, honestly, it does not look easy.
Sydney is a city divided. Its iconic harbours make for beautiful postcards, but are an urban planner's nightmare.
Oh,
the north
beautiful.
and south of the city are cut off from each other. Now, the history of Sydney's infrastructure has been the history of bridging this gap. Most famously and literally with the Sydney Harbour Bridge in 1932, the tallest steel-arch bridge in the world.
Wow.
It took until 1992 to build the second crossing, the Sydney Harbour Tunnel, a dual carriageway that burrows under the water for nearly a kilometre, connecting North Sydney to the Central Business District, or CBD. Now, more than 30 years later, the Sydney Metro is the city's next major crossing, and it's being built in 4 phases.
Oh, they literally have quite a few ways of transport to go, like, over the waters to the CBD, as they mentioned here. That's cool.
The first has actually already been completed, Sydney Metro Northwest. It became operational back in 2019, cost 7.3 billion Australian dollars,
Damn, bro.
and included 36 kilometres of track between Chatswood and Rouse Hill. A staggering 15 kilometres of tunnels, 4 kilometres of bridges, and 8 new stations were also built just as part of that phase. The second step, Sydney Metro West, features 24 kilometres of underground metro rail connecting Parramatta to Sydney CBD, and that's going to cost 25 billion Australian dollars. Now, that's pretty vital because Parramatta is being set up as Sydney's future second downtown.
Okay.
I'm writing you today.
That phase of the railway is due to be completed in 2030. The third
2030, so it's still under construction. Just imagine, guys.
phase includes the connection to Western Sydney Airport, costing $11 billion. This new international airport will open in 2026 and is expected to service more than 10 million passengers each
So
year.
much money invested in this stuff, bro. Wow, I'm actually shocked by those numbers.
Easing the burden on Sydney's main airport, which accommodates one of the busiest passenger air routes in the world. But perhaps the most exciting phase of the project is the Sydney Metro City and Southwest section that's being built right now.
Okay.
This part of the project consists of 2 main components. The first is the conversion of 11 stations on part of the existing Bankstown line for use by autonomous driverless trains. The second is a new
Driverless trains. Interesting.
15.5 kilometre twin tunnel rail crossing under Sydney Harbour and through the city.
Wow.
That new tunnel bores 40 metres below the glittery surface of the Sydney Harbour where it reaches the CBD. Carved from sandstone, it's the
Also, that's how they make the holes underground. Like, I was wondering, how on earth can they, like, do that underground? So they literally have a machine that, like, twirls around and makes a hole sort of thing.
largest single rail line to be constructed under central Sydney since the City Circle Underground Railway was completed in the 1950s. It's a feat of engineering that included the construction of Australia's largest underground railway cavern at Victoria Cross Station. The mammoth space is 265 metres long, 25 metres wide and 20 metres high.
Alright.
In terms of length, that's comparable to Sydney's recently completed Salesforce Tower lying on its side. Or for those of you not down under, San Francisco's Transamerica Pyramid. It's absolutely huge.
Wow.
Inside this cavern, 31 metres below the streets of Sydney, a new station is currently taking shape. Escalators, a mezzanine, and the platform that future commuters will use are all being constructed. In 2019, tunnel boring machines broke through into the cavern and connected the station to the new train network. It's these machines that have been hard at work beneath the streets of Sydney and under the harbour. 16 of them will have been used on the metro expansion once it's completed. You can kind of think of them like enormous sandstone-eating worms. They operate between 35 and 58 metres below Sydney, diving beneath existing infrastructure. They typically weigh more than 1,100 tonnes each and reach 120 metres in length.
Wow, that is a
That's
big
about
machine.
the weight and length of an A380, the world's largest and heaviest passenger aircraft. They work by slowly cutting through rock at the speed of roughly 120 metres a week. They each have a cutter head, which in itself weighs 100 tonnes. That acts as a drill and can tunnel through rock 6 times harder than concrete. The rock is crushed by high-strength alloy steel discs on the cutter head. These rocks are then scooped into the machine's head and onto a conveyor belt, which carries them through the length of the machine and out into the tunnel behind it, before transporting it up to the surface. Concrete ring segments are delivered to the building area up front and put in place to hold up the tunnel. Each concrete ring is connected to the previous one in a long chain, and that's how the tunnel is built, piece by piece. Each TBM includes a crew of up to 10 people working on them, including an operator at any one time. Inside them are offices, a kitchen, and even a bathroom. A state-of-the-art navigation system keeps these machines on track at all times and ensures they don't accidentally drill into something they're not supposed to. By 2030, these 16 machines will have completed more than 56 kilometres worth of tunnels.
Wow.
That's more than was built to connect Paris and London.
That's crazy,
Of particular
bro.
interest is a specialised TBM that had to be purpose-built to dig under Sydney Harbour. It's called a slurry TBM and was used to cut through the different ground conditions in the seabed. It used pipes and fluid to control the pressure in the machine by turning the excavated material into a slurry and then pumping it out. This means the excavated rocks were crushed and mixed with fluids so they could be more easily removed from the tunnel.
Makes sense.
This massive infrastructure push will go a long way to addressing the needs of Sydneysiders both now and in the future. By the middle of the century, Sydney's population is expected to increase by up to 60%. Now, not all of those people can or should be driving cars to get around. The city is notoriously congested and has...
I mean, if you have a good way of transport, like in any country, I mean, there's no need for cars, you know? I mean, you can just use the other ways of transport. It's way easier. And if it's way faster, then why not, you know?
by far the most traffic of any in Australia. In fact, New South Wales is spending $16 billion alone over the next 5 years just to address this congestion and expand Sydney's roads.
Okay.
But new roads won't be enough. Sydney, like many major cities around the world right now, is facing a reckoning when it comes to its over-reliance on cars. And expanding its metro in such a massive and thorough way will provide Sydneysiders with a valid new mode of transport. The history of Sydney really has been the history of bridging its divides. And this enormous $63 billion mega project brings each side of the harbour just that little bit closer.
Nice. Interesting.
Don't forget that we're inspired.
That was very, very interesting video. Really, really enjoyed it. Learned a lot about the railways in Australia, and especially that machine, bro. That machine, literally, I was shocked, bro. I was shocked by that huge thing that actually digs right through the ground. Wow. Guys, let me know what you actually thought about this video. If you really enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, Let me know what other video suggestions you want me to check out, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching, guys, and peace out.